I want to give a lot of credit to Amanda Hess of the New York Times because she did a pretty stellar and honest article about YouTube apocalypse, and it's really the first one that I've seen in any mainstream outlet. So Amanda, well done, credit where credit is due. On this show, we go after mainstream outlets when they do a terrible job, which in my opinion is probably most of the time. But this is a really great piece. So it's titled, How YouTube's Shifting Algorithms Hurt Independent Media. Now, guess who the article is mainly focused on? Friend of the show, David Pakman. So listen to this. She says, at the age of 21, David Pakman started a little Massachusetts community radio talk program. While the young broadcaster got his show syndicated on a few public radio stations, it was a YouTube channel he began in 2009, The David Pakman Show, that opened up his progressive political commentary to a whole new digital audience. The show has since amassed 353,000 subscribers, and roughly half of its revenue now comes from the ads that play before his videos. He earns enough to produce the show full-time and pay a lean staff. Or at least he used to. Last month, YouTube announced abrupt, vague changes to its automated processes for placing ads across the platform. Ads on Mr. Pakman's YouTube channel evaporated, dropping to as little as 6 cents a day, and forcing him to set up a crowdfunding page to help cover $20,000 a month in operating costs. This is an existential threat to the show, Mr. Pakman said. We need that money. Since its 2005 debut with the slogan Broadcast Yourself, YouTube has positioned itself as a place where any people with camera phones can make a career of their creativity and thrive free of the grip of corporate media gatekeepers. But in order to share in the advertising wealth a user base of more than 1 billion can provide, independent producers like Mr. Pakman must satisfy the demands of YouTube's unfeeling, opaque, and shifting algorithms. The architecture of the internet has tremendous influence over what is made and what is seen. Algorithms influence what component spreads further on Facebook and turns up on top of Google searches. YouTube's process for mechanically pulling ads from videos is particularly concerning because it takes aim at whole topics of conversation that could be perceived as potentially offensive to advertisers, and because it so often misfires. It risks suppressing political commentary and jokes. It puts the wild, independent internet in danger of becoming more boring than TV. YouTube's most serious ad change yet came in the wake of reports from the Times of London and the Wall Street Journal that ads were appearing on YouTube videos that espoused extremism and hate speech. When major advertisers like AT&T and Johnson & Johnson withdrew their spots, YouTube announced that it would try to make their site more palatable to advertisers by taking a tougher stance on hateful, offensive, and derogatory content. But according to YouTube's creators, that shift has also punished video makers who bear no resemblance to terrorist sympathizers or racists. YouTube's comedians, political commentators, and experts on subjects from military arms to video games have reported being squeezed by the ad shakeup, often in videos they've posted to YouTube. On the site, it's known as the adpocalypse. I call it YouTube apocalypse, but yeah, many are referring to it as adpocalypse. The topics of Mr. Pakman's videos are no more controversial than the programming typically found on CNN or the local news. In fact, because his show is also broadcast over the radio, it adheres strictly to FCC content rules. But the show takes pride in its independence from corporate ownership. Quote, I have no boss above me, Mr. Pakman said, and because of YouTube's automated ad systems, I've never had any contact with advertisers, so it's impossible for me to sell out to satisfy them. Instead, he's subject to the whims of the algorithm. To rein in its sprawling video empire, 400 hours of videos are uploaded to the platform every minute. YouTube uses machine learning systems that can't always discern context or distinguish commentary or humor from hate speech. That limitation means that YouTube routinely pulls ads from content deemed not advertiser-friendly. That includes depictions of violence or drug use, sexual humor, and controversial or sensitive subjects, including war and natural disasters. YouTube has previously blocked ads on Mr. Pakman's new videos referring to ISIS church bombings and the assassination of a Russian diplomat. Last month's changes signaled that YouTube's ad rules had become even stricter and less clear. YouTube announced that it was leading advertisers toward content that meets a higher level of brand safety. YouTube gave creators no further hints on what that means, just issuing a blanket message telling them they may experience fluctuations in revenue as the new systems are fine-tuned. It's getting so bad, this is a quote now, it's getting so bad that you can't even speak your mind or be honest without fear of losing money and being not brand friendly, said Ethan Klein, the creator of H3H3. YouTube is on the fast track to becoming Disney vloggers, beautiful young people that wouldn't say anything controversial and are always happy. Media power has consolidated in the past several decades with a smaller crew of billionaires controlling journalism and entertainment. The internet was supposed to offer an opportunity for a diverse group of upstarts to challenge the corporate structure, but the same consolidation of power has happened online. Independent blogs have been shut down or snapped up by bigger companies. YouTube has long been owned by Google, which has gobbled up a greater share of online ad revenue in recent years. Google and Facebook are now so dominant that they form a practical duopoly over digital advertising. Meanwhile, YouTube is making a run at Netflix with its original content subscription service, YouTube Red, and going after television with YouTube TV, which allows subscribers to stream TV channels for only, they say, $35 a month. All of that means that new media creators hoping to make a living online need to play by YouTube's rules and steer clear of anything potentially objectionable, not to real people who might actually be offended, but to robots. If YouTube wants to fulfill its promise of an online environment where independent creators can make interesting work, it will find a way to scrub ads from truly vile content without penalizing the merely controversial. 99.999% of the time, there's not going to be an ad placed on genuinely hateful extremist content. As I've described to you guys before, the only time that really happens is if there's nothing that would indicate extremist content in the title or in the tags. Because then how the hell would YouTube know with, what did they say, 400 hours uploaded per minute? How would they know if it's extremist if there's no evidence that it is extremist? Or what would happen is sometimes you'd have a non-offensive video about something not even related to topics like that posted on a channel that is usually extremist or hateful. Well, then again, how's YouTube supposed to know? There's no way to know. So, if anything, the problem is the opposite. 99.999% of the time, you're not going to get an ad on hateful content, but you do all the time get not hateful, not offensive, not controversial stuff demonetized simply because we're discussing broad topics that can vaguely be perceived as such. So I'm sure you guys have noticed it. What I've started doing in recent times is I probably shouldn't even admit this on air. Because who knows, maybe they'll just tweak the algorithm and shut this down in that way too, but I've added the little accent. You can notice it if you pay attention. I'm sure most of you probably notice it. But if you write like Syria in the title of a video, you got to put the little accent above the I, because then it technically doesn't say Syria anymore, so maybe you skirted the algorithm. But again, it's probably just a matter of time until they catch on to that, and then they go, oh, you got to add that to the list of things that's auto-demonetized, Syria with the I with the little accent over it. So, I'm sure some of you have seen on Jimmy Dore's channel, he puts the spaces between, they're not the spaces, the little dashes between the words if he's writing a word that he thinks, hey, maybe this will get swept up in the dragnet and demonetized unnecessarily. And look, at the end of the day, what do we have here? We have a system that now, shock, benefits mainstream establishment corporate media again. Because with YouTube TV, they roll that out, and a YouTube TV is just TV. Look at the companies they made a deal with there. And they can discuss the same content totally monetized. So you have TV that gets all the ad revenue. People start saying, I'm going to cord cut. I'm done with TV. I'm not even interested in the stuff that's on, so forget it. I'm going to go to the internet. I know a lot of places I go to watch things I want to watch, whether it be YouTube or other outlets, whatever. I'm going to the internet. So people leave TV, go to outlets like YouTube in this new media format, and then YouTube goes, that's nice. We're going to defund, demonetize totally independent creators who have not sold out, and we're going to go ahead and divert the money back to YouTube TV. Well, isn't that fucking convenient? And it just happens to coincide with a time where we probably need, especially independent news and politics outlets, more than any other time in history. So, great article. This is so rare, but it's a great article in a mainstream outlet about YouTube apocalypse, and it's focused on friend of the show, David Pakman. And remember, guys, since now is a tumultuous time, we're relying on you more than ever, and you guys have come through. So that's such a rewarding thing to feel, because we both know if Wolf Blitzer launches a Patreon, he's going to get roughly 37 cents and a Pop-Tart. Somebody's going to donate a Pop-Tart. Here, Wolf, here's some food for you. But that's it, because he's not really providing anything. He's a stenographer to power. He's like Ron Burgundy. Wolf will read anything you put on the teleprompter. That's exactly what it is. Remember when he worried out loud about the profits of defense contractors? Rand Paul was like, hey, maybe we should stop arming Saudi Arabia, and because they're massacring kids in Yemen, and that's not cool. And Wolf was like, yeah, but jobs and stuff, and what about the companies that, they would have to not make as much money? That seriously happened. Don Lemon speculating about a thing, the missing plane, Malaysian plane going into a black hole. So they're a house of cards is what they are. They're a paper tiger. The only reason they're still viable is because they're propped up. They're propped up in the TV system, the TV format. They can't compete in the real free market. And since, shocker, we started kicking their ass, YouTube News and Politics started kicking their ass, then what happens? They can't beat us? So, okay, let's run a hack piece on News and Politics on YouTube, have the demonetization of it, and then boom, shift the money back to the same companies through YouTube TV. So, guys, we were at one point on a blacklist where we made, next to no money. It was over a 99% cut at one point. 475,000 views Secular Talk had in one day. We made next to nothing. Now, thankfully, and I have no idea why this is or how this is, maybe you guys helped with it because you guys, rained down holy hell on YouTube when you heard about the situation that I was in and others were in. I've seen the tweets. So I don't know how or why, but we're off the blacklist. But believe you me, we are not out of the woods, and a lot of your favorite channels are not out of the woods because there was a gigantic cut. And I have no idea if it's going to stay like this. In fact, if I had to guess, I think it will stay like this. So if you like The Jimmy Dore Show, The Humanist Report, Benjamin Dixon Show, if you like TJ Kirk, The Amazing Atheist, if you like whoever you like and whoever you support, now's a time where you say, you know what? Let me just give $2 a month and then I'll feel better about helping out an outlet that I like a lot, that I watch a lot. And you don't a tiny bit helps us so much, because a tiny bit from a large swath of people, which is what we have with our subscriber base, it means the world, and it gets us to where we need to be. So if you can, patreon.com/seculartalk, $2 a month, that works out to about a cent per video. We release 40 videos a week plus the Kyle and Corn podcast. That would mean the world. And also, this is another way. If you say, look, man, Kyle, dude, I love you, man, but my situation right now, monetarily, I can't help out like that. Okay, look, here's the thing then. We have something that costs you nothing. That helps out the show. Now, what's that? If you already shop on Amazon, I'm not saying if you don't, hey, go do it and yada yada. No. If you already shop there, you could just use our link. And if you use our link, we get, I think, 5% to 7% of the purchase. And it doesn't cost you anything. So it's nothing extra you pay for what you buy on Amazon, but it just gives us 5 to 7%. I mean, you can't beat that. 5 to 7% for nothing. So that's it. It just gives a little cut to us if you use our link. Now, again, technically, I'm not allowed, according to the terms of service and the agreement with Amazon affiliate, yada, yada, I'm not allowed to tell you to bookmark it, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to do it. I'm just not allowed to say that when I'm discussing it. So I'm just saying. So we need you more than ever. And the people who were hit the worst, it was myself and it was David Pakman. And I don't know if all these guys want me to give the particulars or the details, but I do know that a lot of your other ones, a lot of your other favorites, like the ones I named earlier, they're feeling it as well too, big time. So, good job, rare, super rare, you guys. This might be a first that I'm praising an outlet, like a mainstream outlet, for doing something about independent media that's objective, that's fair, and that's straightforward. So, great job, Amanda Hess. And for all you guys, what I'll do is, again, I'm going to leave a bunch of different Patreons for the people who are hurting and could use your help in the video description box below. I'll leave mine there. I'll leave my Amazon there. And if you can, it'd be great to help out, because we're not out of the woods, and unfortunately this could drag on, and it may be indefinite.